Okay guys, this is my fantastic vent fan I ordered from Amazon. Had really great reviews. Called the manufacturer just to double check what Amazon was selling. She says it's their top model. Oh, it has the rain sensor, so if it starts to rain, it'll close itself. It has a thermostat, so it'll turn on by itself depending on how you set it. And it's also reversible as far as the direction of this fan. Thank God for YouTube again, because instruction wise, this is all you get. I like to see pictures, and I don't see many pictures here just on how to clean the fan. I actually called the manufacturer because I couldn't find a gasket, and I'll show you in a little bit. I almost threw it away, but it's what the manufacturer wants you to use as a gasket. Okay, so you got your instructions, you got some extra power cable, you got your screws, some connections there. You got the remote. It's got batteries also and a holder so you can mount it on the wall. Okay, and here's the fan. Pretty straightforward. I try to find the lowest profile fan I can get as far as height. I like to keep it looking stealth, but the manufacturer said this is basically a standard height. Nothing else is really going to be any lower profile than this. Okay, so this is the gasket that I almost threw away. Basically, I thought it was just packing. So this will work as your gasket. You lay that on top of your van and it'll compress down, and they told me you wait about 10-15 minutes and then you seal it. So I am going to use this gasket, but I have a little bit of a unique of an install, because where I'm going to place it, it's going to end up being where the ribs of the van are, so we're going to have to modify it a bit. But I did go ahead and order Amazon's kit, Butyl tape. It does come with its own screws, but I'm going to be using this, and some people have just used this to seal it as opposed to using this. And I called the manufacturer, and either way will work. The manufacturer also recommended to, once you're done, seal up all your screw holes and the top of the screws and around the area that's getting sealed. So the hardest part about doing this fan install is deciding where you're going to put your fan. The next big thing is accepting the fact that you're going to cut a hole in your new van. That kind of scared the hell out of me. You want to make sure you measure twice and cut once, because you don't want to make any mistakes, because once it's cut, there's no going back. I'm limited in space around the top of the van, so I'm going to install it off to the side a bit, and the install is going to be a little bit harder, but it's still doable. Okay, here's my fantastic fan I'm going to be installing today. First thing you want to do is you want to make sure you take some good measurements. Take your measurements. So I'm going to go by this, because this is the part that drops in. Okay. So we basically just transfer those measurements over. Make sure we got a minimum of 14 by 14. It's very important that you look underneath, make sure you're not going to hit any of these beams. Make sure there's nothing in your way. Where I wanted to put it, it's going to have one of these little ridges, which just makes the install a little bit harder. Double check where you're going to be cutting. So I took that same gasket and I pretty much put it up here where I thought it was going to go. I traced it, made a little cheater hole. Then you can just drill your starter holes There's a couple spots on the van that are designed for the fan. I believe it's around here, where when you cut it out you won't have any of these ribs. But for my application, because I want to utilize all that space and put a roof rack or a solar panel, I wanted to get it off to the side. I believe up front there you can also do it. Make sure you clean it real good. I use some mineral spirits. It's because it evaporates quick. Okay, next you want to make sure you clean it real well. I took a file to the whole thing so that everything was nice and smooth. And then what I'll do is I'll clean it real good and I'll add some touch-up paint just to all the exposed metal. If you want, before you actually cut your real size hole, I kind of played around and cut a smaller one, as we're talking about online, where instead of building up, see, my problem is I wanted to put my fan where we have these ribs. So what you have to do is you either build up, as you'll see later, so that your fan can lay flat. I talked to the manufacturer and that's what their technicians do. But somebody came up with an idea. If you take the jigsaw and you cut some relief cuts in here about 2 inches in, then you can kind of, by putting a sledgehammer underneath or some kind of base, you can hammer using a hammer here. You can see I did get it pretty flat. So as long as you seal it real good, I don't see why there would be a problem. So this is my plan, is to build this up so it can lay on something flat. So I marked here with blue tape and a pencil where my rib is on both sides, so I can take off some material there. Ridge, we'll just line it up, kind of give me an idea of where I'm gonna take off some material. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Okay, so I put that back up temporarily so I can trace from the top down. One problem I ran into was, for some reason, the sheet metal wasn't getting sucked up like it was supposed to. So I had somebody underneath kind of push up on the sheet metal while I drilled in and sucked it up. Okay, so this is what the finished product should look like after I color matched it. Okay guys, there it is. Not too bad. I did the hose water test and no leaks. I would say start to finish install would probably take about 2 to 3 hours. Thanks for watching, and soon I'll post a video. I still have to, if you remember in the video, I traced the area where I still have to cut out. So I hope to soon have my headliner up, and I'll post a video on the installation of the headliner, and I'll show how the fan looks when it's completely done and has the nice trim around it. I did power the fan just temporarily and it's very quiet, so far I'm pretty impressed.